Hey everybody, welcome to today's tutorial. If you've been exploring the world of Out of War, you probably noticed a brand new power system. Let me tell you, it's a game changer. Whether you're just starting or looking to optimize your power usage, understanding the system is going to be very crucial to surviving and thriving in the game from now on. I'll break down everything you need to know, from the basics of power generation to advanced strategies that will help you power up your wash plants without breaking a sweat. So grab your pickaxe and let's dive into this new power system in Out of War. If you ever have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and we'll try our best to make sure we help you out. Okay, first we're going to start off in the menu on where to buy these parts. You're going to go ahead and hit P on your keyboard, or you can go into your Mine OS by hitting I. You can hit the factory tab, and then we're going to narrow it down to power because that's what we're going to be going over here today. The first section I'm going to be covering is going to be the power generation types, so that way you guys can understand how much they are and how much you use and kind of roughly what goes on. All right, now we have the power generation types. So now the first one that we have is we have the wind turbine. We have the 800, the 1200, and the 1800. And as well as we have the solar panels, we have the 300, 700, and 500. And we have the power generators, which are 1600, 2200, and 2800 that also use fuel. Let's go ahead and get on into making fuel and how it's done. First off, you're going to need an oil derrick. And secondly, you're going to need empty barrels, whether you make them or buy them. Then that's going to produce oil. Then you'll need empty barrels and then 2 times the oil to make fuel. And now that you learned how to make fuel, we're going to show you how to fill up your fuel generators. Now that you've placed your fuel generator, all you have to do is go up to it and press E. This will bring up the new menu and your player inventory, so that way you can drag fuel into the fuel generator. All you have to do is drag it on over and place it right there. And then you'll see that you'll have fuel. So now we're going to go over some of the models for the actual power generation themselves, so you can see what they look like. This is all 3 of the power generators for the solar panels. They're a little dirty. I wonder if you can clean them later on to make it more output. Also, we have wind generation. We have 3 of those as well, which are 2 great options for sustainable, no fuel usage if you're trying to be on a pinch. And well, maybe you are lacking a little bit of power, but you gotta remember, these things are underpowered compared to the fuel generators. Also, we have a demonstration of how far you can make the power lines. These are 20 meter between the poles, between the poles on the normal poles and the ones that can clip to the walls. They are 20 meters. And as you can see here, if you're also having some issues with some snapping, sometimes they want to be a little wiggly and not maybe attach up here. But a little trick, sometimes just look down at the pole and then you can just go ahead and click it there and then drag over on this side. Sometimes they don't want to snap, but sometimes they do, and it's okay. You just look down the side of the pole and then you can click it and it'll snap. Maybe it might be too high up and it might be out of your reach, so that's a nice little cool thing that you can do. And the wall ones are pretty easy as well too. Same thing, just go ahead and up to it and click on it and drag and snap, and you can buy these cables in the power options that we showed earlier. So yeah, there is still a 20 meter between there. But now that you know how to set up the fuel and make fuel and set up the power lines, let's go ahead and show you guys how to connect it. All right, so here we have a basic wash plant, or well, production system. This thing uses X amount of power, and we're going to show you why. So this thing, you can see how it's all hooked up, everything's running. Yeah, the trommel still runs a little bit, even though there's no power hooked up. But, little things, right? And now we're going to show you guys how to hook up the power to your system, so that way your whole production system can get the adequate power that it needs. Now we're going to go ahead and go back to that factory tab again. We're going to scroll down to the power, and then you'll see that there is 1, 2, and 3 here, but there's also now 5 and 10 X speeds, which we'll be going over here in a second. Okay, now we have the power input section. This is where the magic happens for your guys' production system. Like the old 30 ms, which is the old speed of the old, prior patch. And then the 2x speed will go up to 60. And then the 3 is 90. And the 5 is 150. And then the big bad boy, which is 10x, which is 300. And make sure you guys pick the power usage that you need for your input lines. Now we have a graph that shows the unit load versus the unit speed. As you can see, the power input 1x is 100 power draw to 30 speed. And that scales all the way up to the 10x, which is a maximum of 600 power draw to 300 speed. It is absolutely insane. It's awesome that we have these different outputs or inputs. That way we can go a little faster. All right, now that you guys have all that information, let's show you guys how to actually hook this thing up. Let's go ahead and grab one of them, one of the inputs, and we're going to slap this thing on a completed wash plant in the beginning of the setup. So all we have to do is click that on there, pull out the cable like we showed earlier, and snap it onto this, and snap it onto anything that is well part of your power grid that you've already built. So whether you have a plant or you go to a pole, all you have to do is snap it in there like so, and that way you can then have your power drawn in the thing. So you go ahead and go over to the control panel. Now that you're into the power input, you have the unit load, and then you have the grid load. So the unit load is how much is attached to the whole system that's attached to this one line. So you can see here, I only have 524 kilowatts attached. That means that's how much power I need to have readily accessible to my grid, so that way we do not have any problems. Okay, now we're gonna hook up this thing again. We're gonna show you what it looks like when we go to the grid side of it. So see how we have a power generator of 2200 kilowatts, but there's no grid load until we turn it on. Right? Well, when we turn it on, we still have to turn on the belt, but you can see the max is that for the max power. And then the grid load, well, we don't have grid load right now from the generation side. So we're going to go back to the power input, click on that, and you can see how we have the unit load. And then if we turn it on, then you will see that we have a grid load. And that is the overall power that's being pulled from your system that is connected to this chain. So when you go back to the power and you click and see, you can see now we have grid load. And that'll let you know, and it shows you in the little bar down there as well too, the gauge right here, and it shows you how much fuel you have. Very, 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 very easy to understand. So as long as you have the right power connected to it and you have everything connected to that chain, you'll be good to go. Okay, so here we're going to show you what happens if you have too much power drawn to the pole. So you can see how we have, well, 2200, right? And then we're going to show you what the power input looks like. Oh, I don't know who that guy's standing there. Then you have 688 power right there. But then if you click on the pole can only handle 600. Well, you'll see what happens here in a second. When you have too much power drawn through your pole, well, get wrecked. And you have an explosion. And that's what happens when you overload your power pole. Okay, here we have a advanced production style setup. It's a very small little system that we're going to show you here. But pretty much what I have set up here is a way to customize your plants, so that way if you're running only maybe one person and you want to keep your plant very small, you don't need to have a lot of belts wide, right? So what you can do is you can actually run separate power speeds per line, which is a power input of 3, and this is a 30. So this is a 3x speed as well. So those are 90. Those are 90 each, and those don't matter to the piece. This is the actual speed you're looking for of the belt, because we have, well, a 3x speed on there. So we have 3 of those running into one line, and you guessed it, which one are we going to use? We're going to use the one that gives us 300. Why? It'll give us a little extra room to put stuff on the belts. Now you can take 3 belts and put it into one, but you can match them so that way you have the optimal flow for your plant to keep the plant as small as you want. That way you don't have to have these monstrosity wash plants that don't really make sense, and they're just absolutely ridiculous for no reason. So the game gives you this amazing ability to do that now. Okay, hopefully this helped you guys out a little bit. I know that it was a lot of information to pack into the power system, but there's not really much there. Hopefully I covered everything for you guys and explained everything and what they do, the power draw and things like that. Like I said, these are little quick tutorials. I didn't want to go into anything fancy for you guys because there's no need to complicate things to make the videos longer. Just want to smash as much information into it as we possibly can. That way we can make sure that you guys get the right information that you need. Sorry if any of this becomes out of date in the next couple days or so, or week as it goes into beta. But other than that, if this helped you guys out, you liked it and you want more, smash that like button. I appreciate you. Catch you on the next one.